Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Today we are planting up our elevated garden bed from Vego. Finally, I've got all of my seedlings out and I am ready to get these guys planted in. The longer you keep them in their seed starting trays, the more stressed they get. I have this tray right here, which look, they're just drying out so fast and it's time to get them planted. Plus, this will be a quick video because it has started sprinkling. I don't know if it's going to fully downpour, but we want to do as much as we can before the rain starts and before my chickens get on my nerves so much that they run me off into the house with their noise. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so you'll notice in the front row, we've already planted nasturtium. I planted this about, I would say, a week and a half ago just to get them started and going. Nasturtium, when the soil is warm, they germinate very readily. So we've got them going all the way down, and I'm happy to say that like every seed that I planted germinated. So that is awesome. Now, here's how we're going to plant this bed. This back row, let's give that truck a chance to go by. This back row, I'm actually going to plant dwarf teddy bear sunflowers because they get about 3 feet tall. So I want them to be a tall backdrop here. They're gorgeous. So we'll start with the teddy bear sunflowers. They're going to go all the way down. Okay. And then in between those, we're going to plant my tomatoes, my determinate tomatoes that get, only to a certain height. Those are going to be on poles, which we will install as the tomato grows. So we've got the sunflowers, then we've got the tomatoes, and then our next line is going to be, I don't think it's these. We are going to do, let me see, peppers. Definitely going to have peppers. Like peppers are going to be closer to about here. So sunflowers, tomatoes, peppers, and then if I've got room, I'm going to put some dwarf shorter growing squash in between, the nasturtiums here. And then throughout, if there's space, I'll put in herbs along the way. I do have spicy glow basil, which is a shorter, compact growing basil. So it grows pretty much like a little boxwood hedge, just a tiny little shrub, and it's beautiful. I have this tomato here, which is a dwarf tomato. So this can go closer to the front. I only have that one right there. I'm not sure if I have any others in the greenhouse or in the back maybe, but let's go ahead and get started and start popping things in. I'm excited to have this garden finished so that I can just be, maintaining it. So make sure it's water, pruning, things like that. Getting the planting out of the way as quickly as possible is the best thing ever. All right, so let's get my gloves on. We're going to start with the sunflowers, and I'm actually going to just use one glove because it's just easier that way. So if any of these do not germinate, I will take an attempt at replanting, hoping they get big. But we're just going to start down here at the very end. They need to go in, let's see, they need to be 16 inches apart. So that's a little over a foot. All right, so we'll do that. We won't put them super deep, about half an inch to an inch deep. And I am going to put about 2 seeds. Actually, I'm going to sow them closer than that just in case some don't wake up. So a little closer than 16 inches, and I'm putting in 2 seeds. We're just going to go all the way down. And we are going to hope that the birds don't discover this and eat them up, because that's what birds like to do. push this up front. 2 seeds. And if all of these seeds germinate, we will have to do some thinning. We've got some mold and mushrooms growing under where this tray is. That's normal. It's been wet and it's been covered. So it's absolutely fine. You can just mix the soil up if you want to. I'm just going to leave it because I'll be planting in it very soon. All right, this last spot. Ooh, that one might have got 3. That's all right. All right, so this back row is done. Put this last seed in. Oh, last seed in here. All right, so the next row is going to be my determinate tomatoes, and I sowed my tomatoes a little bit differently this year. I actually sowed them like, I don't know if you guys listen to Joe Gardner, his podcast. He's also on YouTube too, but he sows for each type of tomato, he sows them all in one like pot or seed tray. So I did that this year to save space because tomatoes are easily split and divided. So, you know, issues with messing around with their roots and things like that is not a problem in this case. So I'm going to look for my small dwarf seedlings, and I did mark most of them. So we've got, okay, so we got, I'll just name off what I sowed. We have Dwarf Awesome Tomato. We have Sun Rojo Monster, which is a dwarf. We have Martian Giant, which is indeterminate. Indeterminate means it can grow to an indeterminate length, you know, so it could keep going on and on and on if you let it. Determinate means that it will stop at a certain height. So we've got Dwarf Metallica, Dwarf Bono, is that Bono's? Boromia. I think that's it. It's hard to read my own writing sometimes. Fred's Dwarf Tie-Dye and Gondwana Moon. And then our other tomatoes are, we've got Persimmon, which is my favorite, Gobstopper, Orange Currant, Hawaiian Pineapple Beefsteak, Honeycomb Hybrid, one of my favorites also, Get Stuffed Tomato, Alice's Dream, and a tumbler tomato. So the tumbler could actually sit right here and go over the edge or over the edge there. I like tumblers. I don't feel like they have a ton of flavor compared to other tomatoes. So I grow them pretty much for looks. I do harvest and use the tomatoes, but they're not as flavorful as some others. Okay, so I'm going to start with the ones that actually say dwarf tomato on them, and then the others I'll do a double check with my seed packets. So let's start with, we have only 2 seedlings of the dwarf tomato awesome, so let's go ahead and pull those out. And first I'm gonna get my little hole ready. This bed has already been filled with compost and fertilizer, so it is good to go. So I'm gonna use my finger and push out this tomato. So there are 3 in here. Take my glove off. So we will gently pull them apart. Got our first tomato, which will go right here. Tomatoes, you can plant them all the way up until that first set of leaves. So if your tomato's bigger than this, you can take some leaves off and plant it deep. So I'm gonna plant this as deep as possible first. I need to get a little shovel. That would make this a lot easier to do. All right, you definitely want to give your tomatoes space for sure. This bed will be cramped. That is the way I'm planting it. And I am totally okay with that. So we're going to plant this one deep. Cover it with soil. And then I'm going to put my little marker here. Scooch down a bit. All right. And our last teeny weeny, I'm going to put this moist soil down in there. Perfect. And actually, I'm going to put the tag right at this one. All right. So our next one that we're going to pop out. Okay. We're going to do the Sun Rojo Monster. So I'm going to put my finger here. Push that up. It has really, really nice roots. Let's get our first hole. Give a little space between. Now I have tons more space for tomatoes, so we will fill this bed as much as we possibly can. And then later on, we will plant the other tomatoes that I have in different areas. Plant this guy deep. Okay, and the next one. Perfect. Tag. Split these two apart. And drop this guy in here. Perfect. All right, the next one gets one of the moldy spots. All right, we got that pretty deep. Perfect. So I'm going to add the tag down here at the last seedling so that I can remember what it is. Okay, so I'm going to move this someplace. Okay, so our next tomatoes are going to be Sleeping Lady because I see about 4 seedlings, and I feel like I can fit 4 seedlings here. So let's go ahead and try it. She's got one that's coming out of here, so this might not go well for this particular. Well, we got a little root. All right, so let's pop it out. Put that there. Got our tag. Tomato plants are so forgiving, so easy to propagate. They are just really great plants. So I'm going to try putting this little seedling right here. Putting it right at soil level. And then our next hole will go here. Let's just make them right now. One. And we're going to squeeze this last one in right here at the very end. Now let's try it. This here. Very deep. Okay, so we got 2 here. Pushing that right down. Oh, and this soil is warm too. I can feel the heat on it. Okay, and then this one is so incredibly tiny. It doesn't even have true leaves yet. We'll plant it anyways. We'll see what happens. Doesn't need to be as deep. We'll go ahead and pop that little one in there. Hopefully it does fine. I feel like it will. Long as nothing digs it out, all of these will do really, really great. Okay, so this is Sleeping Lady, and I'll put her right here and just know that she is the last half of this bed. All right, so the next thing that we are going to plant are our dwarf peppers. And I have very badly neglected these peppers, so hopefully they do okay for me. Where can I put this? I'll put it down here. Starting to feel a little bit of rain, so I'm going to start moving just a little bit faster. So let's put these here. And we'll start this way with our peppers. These are Kitchen Minis hot fajita peppers. So we've got 1, 2, and peppers are pretty good about being split apart as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so the first one will go right here. This guy. And I'm going to try and use this spade to break these 2 apart gently. Kind of like, well, that might be too rough. I'll just go with my hands and pull them apart. So now I have 2. This one we will plant at soil level of how the pepper was in the pot. So you don't need to go deep with this. You wouldn't want to, just because you don't want to have soil up here that could potentially rot the stem. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We'll do the second one here. Try to get as close as in line as the other. All right. Push that down. Next, the other one here. This one's got a little bloom on it. We'll just backfill this. Next pepper will be here. Perfect. Okay, and our next pepper, divide it very gently. This one will definitely be down here. I want it to still kind of be towards the front, so like here. See some trash in here. Okay, and then the last one will be here. Take off these dead leaves real quick. And so I'll put Hot Kitchen Minis tag right there so that I remember. Okay, so we've got our sunflowers back here, our dwarf tomatoes here, peppers there. so I can stick in some extra things. I think I'm gonna put this is a quick snack cucumber, and I want it to go here so it can kind of trail over the side, or I'm gonna put this tomato there, or I can put the tomato over here. Hmm. I think it doesn't really matter. Either space will be fine. I think I'll just leave them as they are. Do the tomato here and the quick snack cucumber right here. So let's go ahead and dig the hole. I'm gonna dig it close to the edge of this bed. Alrighty. Okay, done with her. Now we're gonna plant this dwarf tomato, which I don't remember the variety, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Let's go ahead and dig the hole, and we're gonna keep this one right at the very edge as well. Now I'm just gonna pop my spicy glow basil in. I have two full trays. So this one has a couple of plants in it. So I'm just gonna put one here and one there and see how they do. So probably like here will work. Maybe like right here. And then I'll take out this one. Whoop. The roots on this are gorgeous. Happy, happy little plant. Cover it back up. Whoop, stay in that spot. Okay, next I'm gonna put this one down here. Pop another beauty. And we've got one here that is on the struggle bus. I don't know if it's gonna make it. It looks really bad. And it's super tiny. Nope, he's a goner. Alrighty, so let's get this watered in before we get rained on. So as the plants grow and I see how they utilize this space, that will tell me if I can add any more plants in and where I can actually add them in. But for now, I'm gonna let this settle, this planting settle, and see what happens. Hopefully things will go as planned and we'll have the gorgeous sunflower hedge going back here. And then we'll have our tomatoes and our peppers and our herbs and our nasturtium trailing over. I think that would be so beautiful. So I hope that works out. If it does not, it still is going to be a beautiful planting and we'll be able to harvest from it and it will serve its purpose. But I would love, 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 love if everything worked out in the way that I see it in my head, you know? But that's gardening. You can never predict how it will go. And when you try to control things, that's when nature's like, nope, you're not in control. I am. So we'll see. So when planting your tomatoes, make sure you plant them in the brightest sunlight that you have. You want to make sure that they get full sun. Full sun is at least 6 hours a day. So you opt for optimum growth, you want them to be in over 6 hours of sun. Tomatoes love to stay moist. They don't like to dry out. And you'll also want to make sure that you're fertilizing them at least weekly with a liquid feed, or make sure that your soil has a great mixture of compost or other fertilizers in it. I like to steer more on the organic, natural side. So you can, if you're like that as well, you can get like compost from your local garden centers. I like to mix my compost. So like if you do like a cow manure compost, and then you do like a mushroom compost, like, or even like, what is it, like a fish fertilizer, land and seed type of compost, like mix your compost, and that is a great way to feed your plants. Worm casings is a great way to feed your plants. There's so many different combinations and ways to do things, so pick which way works best for you. But growing tomatoes is pretty straightforward. They need lots of sun, they need to be fed weekly, and to help keep away like tomato diseases, which tomatoes are so prone to getting diseases, you want to make sure that if you notice anything weird with them, definitely take a picture, do a Google search with that picture. That will help you identify anything that's going on. And then you can also, if you do find something, take that plant out completely, just to keep whatever it has from spreading. You don't want to put any tomato plants that have diseases in your compost. You'll want to bag those and send those to the garbage can. You don't want that to spread anywhere else in your garden. And you'll also, to help with diseases, you'll want to mulch your plants, so mulch under them. Having a layer between the soil and your actual plant will help when you're watering or it's raining and that rain or water is hitting the soil and splashing back up onto your plant leaves. That's another way that diseases happen with tomatoes and can spread around your garden. So just be mindful of that. um, Anything that you are questioning, definitely do a Google search or ask someone who knows about tomatoes and just see what you can do. But keep an eye on them. If you feed them good, give them good light, you will get really great harvest out of your tomato plants. Peppers don't suffer from as much disease as tomatoes. They're pretty easy. Sun, fertilizer, and they're good. Herbs are so hardy and tough. Like they are, I don't want to say indestructible, because and there's nothing that's indestructible, especially when it comes to a plant. But they are pretty tough. Nasturtiums are pretty tough. Basil, oregano, all those things are super tough in the garden. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have any questions about anything you saw in the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.